We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin.
Interrupt this broadcast to bring you this important bulletin from the United Press.
This is not a test. Every Tuesday, the Journey into Comics Network will bring you The Poor Rapport, your one-stop podcast shop for everything news and topics of personal interest. I am your host, Andrew Poor, and you can hear me every Tuesday.
The following is a Journey into Comics Network production.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Journey into Comics, the podcast about everything nerd, with your hosts, Nate Phillips and Brandon Stone.
We've come a long way from the Prime Minister's exploding cake. Or have we?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Journey into Comics, number 167. I'm one of your hosts, Brando. Joining me here today, as always, is my co-host, Nate.
Dude, how is it going?
It is going pretty darn good. We are now past Thanksgiving. I hope you guys had a happy one. We are actually recording this the day before, so we're a few days off of your listening date, but we definitely wanted to get to talking sooner rather than later, because we got some stuff to talk about, dude. We were together this past weekend, and we didn't record a single thing, even though the rule of law would be when you see something and do something nerdy together, you got to just hit record and talk about it. In fact, it would have been better if we could have, but that was kind of an oxymoronic thing to do, would be to say, hey, let's get together, hang out, and not do any podcasts. By the way, let's go see Justice League.
Yeah, I loved the concept of this because it gave us time to bond, and we didn't have to worry about what we were going to say. I've taken really the other thing that was great about this, because we could have, you're so right, it would have been so easy to say, fuck it, let's just record right now. You actually brought your Zoom. We didn't even see it, but you had it with you if something would have broke out. If all chaos broke loose and the greatest conversation was happening, you could have made that happen. But it's nice because we got to sit on this for a week, and I've really taken in a lot of thought on Justice League, really have taken in a lot of thought on how I actually feel about the movie and all the moving parts of that. So it's, it was awesome, first of all, we should start there, that we got to hang out together. And it was like not planned, but perfectly timed. You guys had just gotten in line, like, right when we were getting there.
Yeah, there was some sort of issue with moving the time, and unfortunately, I could not move the time.
Yeah, we were pretty much locked in.
Unfortunately, like you guys might have been late, but you guys are actually right on time. But like there was some stuff going on during my day that made me just want to stay home. Like, not even leave the house. I was not having a good day.
I vibed that.
At all. And so then we had all this stuff with, like, wanting to move the time. And I'm like, I can't, dude. And then with that going on, I was, like, throwing my hands up saying, I'm just going home. I'm taking the kid and I'm going home. But we didn't do that. And I went and saw the movie. Unfortunately, my wife couldn't go. She went to go help good friend Silent Gretchen, Silent Rob.
Silent Torple.
So Silent Torple, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I remembered.
Silent Rob's Silent wife. And
there's Silent Baby.
Congratulations, you guys, and your new addition to your family. But of course, as with any sort of like brand new parent, been there, it is erratic. It is you're constantly tired, overtired. Let me correct that. You're overtired, and so you need help whenever you can get it. And so my wife was like, you know what, you help me out, I'm gonna help you out. And so we had a little bit of a change of plans. And so then we went and saw the movie. sat there, saw the movie. We weren't in like prime spots. We were
A little too
kinda
close.
closer, buddy, because we got there. I couldn't even get any popcorn or a drink because the line was like going to the damn door.
I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, Brando. Really, we should have just taken our fucking time because there were like 200 trailers. This was like the longest previews ever. And not even great preview. Why are we seeing a preview for Pitch Perfect 3 before my Justice League movie? Like, here's the thing. I really wish that Marvel would have just outsmarted DC on this one, bought ad space for Infinity War, and had that shit play right before Justice League. I mean, it would have declared legitimate war, but, you know.
We should have had a Star Wars spot.
Also true.
Since that's coming up. But yeah, Pitch Perfect was like not the crowd for this at all. And not only that, but it's the third one of these, and they never should have made the first one, my opinion.
Yeah, it doesn't really do anything for me personally. Like the movie, I watched the first one and it wasn't terrible per se. The whole a cappella competition thing. It's like, what was that fucking Drumline? Drumline. That was the movie.
What was that fucking Drumline movie called?
It was the Drumline. Yeah, so it's essentially the same thing, but with a cappella singers, chick singers, or whatever. And it's just like, come on, why are we doing 3 of these? You don't need. The story doesn't need to. There's so much plot within fucking Pitch Perfect 3. It made Justice League's plot look simple. You know what I'm saying?
There's so much plot in the trailer.
It was ridiculous. I'm like, what in the fuck are they setting up? There's like this war, and then there's this like whole like you're too good for this, and then now there's this other subcontext. Chick is gonna betray the team. Like, what is going on? Calm down. You just keep it simple. You know, it's weird. I don't really remember too many other trailers other than the other main comic book one, which we have not talked about yet officially. D to the E to the A to the D to the P-O-O-L.
We got the family version of the Deadpool teaser.
Yeah. That snow.
That snow. Moose Knuckles.
Yeah.
That actually still made me laugh, even though it's a technical edit. That still made me laugh. Really, I love the fact that they did. I mean, I was like, this movie's going. It's as far as the trailer's going, just in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Even without Miller. That was the name of the director, right? Miller.
Yeah, Tim Miller. Very good.
Tim Miller. I couldn't remember. Like, I just remember Miller.
You're dead on, bro. And then it's weird though, because T.J. Miller was in the movie as Weasel.
Yeah, right.
So,
Ready Player One, but that was an old trailer.
Oh, you know what? I liked that though. Like the whole VR is your real life kind of take, and then there's the whole racing scene. That was super hyped.
It was a book. It was a lot of people got the book due to Loot Crate.
Yeah, I heard about that.
But this is like a love letter to the 80s book. And in the book, there's so many pop culture references from the 80s. The only thing is that you can't do that in a movie because you can't get rights to everything.
So they're going to have to limit it to what rights that Sony and Universal have?
It's Universal.
Or, yeah, Universal.
So that's why, we saw the DeLorean, we saw the Iron Giant, we saw Freddy Krueger, bunch of little stuff in there. In the book, Will Wheaton is in the book as Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton?
And Will Wheaton reads the audiobook.
Oh, that's awesome.
Of that. And so I wonder if Will Wheaton is actually in that movie as Will Wheaton. Because that'd be perfect. I'm sort of casually looking it up now because I actually haven't looked up anything about the movie. I know it's being directed by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good track record, this Spielberg guy. I don't know if you've heard about him. New kid on the block.
This up-and-comer really has a lot of... he has a pretty big promising future. T.J. Miller is in Ready Player One as well.
Whoa, that's a cool movie. There you go. Oh.
Train Train of the Existence coming in early.
It would not be a JIC without our train of our existence at the 9-minute mark. We just got to the 9-minute mark, folks, and there's already a train of our existence. By the way, I'm fighting like this really weird sinus infection cold thingy that's just been dangling. I feel really great for a couple days, and I think I have it gone, and then it kind of sneaks in a little bit. So my voice is fucking kind of a little bit nasally is the word I would use. It's crazy that we're already like gearing up towards our 175th episode. We're not so far away from that anymore.
Dude, we are not,
8 episodes away.
Pretty big landmark episode. Of course, we're always going to be excited to talk about Star Wars: The Last Jedi, which is now officially the longest Star Wars movie ever.
Really, what's the runtime on that?
It's like 2 hours and 40-something minutes.
Holy shit.
And I guess the closest one to it is Revenge of the Sith, and that was like 2:13.
Oh, 2.5. That makes sense.
And then I guess Force Awakens was like 2 and 20 something. Now that's including credits. There's a lot of freaking people who are listed in Ready Player One.
Yeah, lots of characters and.
I'm not seeing Mr. Wheaton.
Damn, that's very unfortunate. Maybe maybe he'll be an uncredited voice. Like the narrator, you don't ever get the narrator in the trailers.
I mean, they've probably had to change some of the story anyway, just for the movie and with all the different stuff going on.
Did you read this book?
I have read the book. Years ago now. It's been a while.
Was this a book that when you read it, you were like, "Oh, this could be a great movie"?
Theoretically, but it's difficult.
Yeah, as you said with the licensing.
Difficult in practicality. We have the main character is played by Ty Sheridan, then T.J. Miller is IROC, Olivia Cook is Artemis, and Simon Pegg is in this movie.
Sweet.
So
Nick Frost is also in that movie, right? He was in the trailer.
I didn't.
Or was that in a different movie? What was that trailer for that we saw? Shit, it had Nick Frost in it, the dude that's always in the Simon Pegg movies. He had the long beard.
Oh, you're right. What was that movie?
He was he selling weapons or some shit?
Oh wait, hold on. I looked up Nick Frost. Looking up filmography. Tomb Raider.
Yep, Tomb Raider. We saw Tomb Raider. Is that something you're going to cover on your the Game Addicts podcast, perchance?
If I see it, I'm not going to go to the theater and see it.
That's surprising because I thought you really liked the game that just came out, and it seemed like that was a closer representation to the game. I know it's definitely not Tomb Raider, but it looked a hell of a lot better than The Rock's Doom.
Well, I mean, okay, so this representation of the movie is they take a lot of cues from the reboot. There's scenes that are like just taken right from it, and that's not a bad thing. But I've also I played the game twice. I don't need to do it again. It's just that kind of thing, I like it. I'm not in love with it, I liked the first reboot. I had a lot of fun with it. And then I replayed it and then played Rise of the Tomb Raider. I liked it too. Didn't love that either. It didn't hit me like Uncharted 4 did. I absolutely loved Uncharted 4.
It was so good.
I got some pickups.
Oh shit! Are we getting a sneak peek at Game Addicts this week on Journey into Comics?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
All right, so for $4, I got Star Trek Beyond.
Nice. I haven't seen it yet.
It's good. I liked it. It's
I saw the first two.
You always kind of worry when they have a director and then they don't have that same director again.
Yeah, what happened there?
Well, JJ went to go do Star Wars.
That's right.
And then I can't remember who got the directing nod for this, but Simon Pegg helped write. Oh, Justin Lin. He's from the Fast and the Furious movie.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
I thought it was good. As good as the other two, because I really enjoyed both of the other two. Then,
Cool. Well, I'm interested in checking that out. Ooh, DMC OG.
Devil May Cry 2 and 3, $4 a piece. And then the last one.
It's a big pickup. Oh! It's a gatefold CD? What is this collector's edition you have that I've never seen before?
This is the new remaster release that just came out.
Oh, what? How different does it sound, Brando? Oh, it's so beautiful. How many
Sounds
times?
like Master of Puppets.
Okay, so it's not as different as when Mustaine did the remasters of all the OG Megadeth. You remember when he did that? That was actually right when we were both started collecting Megadeth albums at the time. So it looks beautiful. I mean, absolutely, folks. Luckily for me, I'm on Skype, so Brandon's just flipping through this. It looks like the original book.
All right, so in the thank you, they have like a really big thank you section. You know, have you ever read it? Because I've actually never read it.
No.
We're not gonna read the whole thing because there's they're like paragraphs. In fact, I'm gonna have to try and it's one of those things where it's like, if I get too close, I can't read it. If I get too far away, I can't read it.
Oh shit!
I'm starting to get old.
We're getting old.
I'm gonna have to get my cheaters.
By the way, you know that, right, Brando? That at some point when we're older, we're going to take Journey into Comics on tour, and it's going to be Nate and Brando get old.
Yes,
and it's going to be great.
Of course, they thank a lot of band members, or a lot of other things. Of course, Cliff Bernstein. John Cochran, Mikey Poo, Alego, Mike Bone. And then it's like, thanks to all the U.S. magazines and press for their great support. Thanks to the thankful Bay Area Metallabashers. In Europe, they're thanking a bunch of people. Also, thanks to the European magazines and press. Also, extra fucking yahoos. Like, spelled YAHOOZ. And it's XTRA FUCKEN. Also, extra fucking yahoos to Carlsenberg, Beeves, Sushi, Absolute Vodka, Alka-Seltzer, The Young Ones, Remuel Blade, Sky Cow, Boom Shakur, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and most of all, ... Edna. So, last year, the local rock radio station in my area had a giveaway for Hardwired to Self-Destruct. And on Thanksgiving Day, I entered that contest online. I just was on my way over to Illinois for Thanksgiving, see family, and she usually how we do it, she drives over, I drive back. And so I'm just sitting there on my phone. Oh, cool. I can enter to win it instead of buying it, right? And I won the damn thing.
What?
And so, I was chilling out, a month later, and it was, my Christmas shutdown. My phone rings. Don't know the number, but it's from Lafayette. And I'm like, I ain't answering it. It goes to voicemail, and it's like, hey, Brandon, this is Strange from 93.5 KHY, and I want to let you know you've just won the new Metallica disc, Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Come on in any day of the week here before 4:30, and we'll have it there on the front desk for you. I'm like, badass, I won something.
Holy shit.
So the other day, I'm just chilling on my couch, kind of halfway falling asleep. She's watching something on, Netflix. And I don't really care to watch it, so what do? And my phone rings. I look at it. I just had to talk to my my eye doctor or something, So I answer it. It's like, hey, this is Strange from 93.5 KHY. You've won Metallica's Master of Puppets Remaster. I'm like, I won 2 Metallica CDs from the same station almost exactly a year apart.
You won that today?
I won it because they crossed out, just like on the other one. They Sharpie out the the bar.
Holy shit, dude.
So I won it. They called me on it was Monday and told me that I won. On the back of it, it says the music on this compact disc was originally recorded on analog equipment. We have attempted to preserve as closely as possible the sound of the original recording. Because of its high resolution, however, the compact disc can reveal limitations of the source tape.
Interesting.
Obviously, the best way to get that would be vinyl.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for, the OG vinyl, not a re-release.
Well, I kind of want the re-release because that means they spent time to try and make it a little bit more high fidelity. Cool. Having an OG one would be cool. Obviously, I wouldn't definitely if I found it, I would not buy it.
Yeah.
But I think for Record Store Day, if you went and picked up the new remaster, select stores had a finite number of it was Cliff's last show.
Whoa.
And it was on cassette.
Oh, shit.
They put it on cassette, and that was given to you for free if you bought the Master of Puppets remaster on vinyl.
Whoa.
And then I think if you buy the big collector's box on Metallica Shop and whatever,
it's ridiculous. Like $200, right?
I think you get the cassette with that too.
Damn, that's awesome. Cliff's last show. Damn, that's crazy to think about. We should probably untangent ourselves out of Metallica and get ourselves back into Justice League talk. We've been teasing it a little bit here.
So
I want to get your thoughts right away, Brando. I need to know, how did you feel about this movie?
I liked it, and I really liked it. I thought it was a pretty well put together movie, all things considered, with all of the drama, all of the tragedy, all of the mess that this movie was to put together. There was so much of this movie that wasn't in this movie that we've already seen in the trailers, because I can only assume that when Whedon was putting together the final thing, he was like, this doesn't fit anymore, this doesn't fit anymore, this doesn't fit anymore, this doesn't fit anymore, this doesn't fit anymore. I need to go back and film more Cyborg. There's so much. There was a lot of that movie that felt like a Whedon film, and there's a lot of that movie that felt like a Snyder film. It really was like this weird amalgamation of both styles. Because obviously Snyder shot it, most of it. So, but then the overall ebb and flow of the movie kind of felt like a Whedon film in comparison to the past 2 Snyder films in this universe.
Well, I can tell you there's a little bit of deepness to that. Joss Whedon also had a credit for the screenplay of this movie. So, with that being said, it is possible that this movie had a lot more Joss Whedon in it before we even knew Joss Whedon had a bigger part to do in it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's just what they decided to give him. I remember reading that.
Oh, that's just the credit they settled on?
Yes.
Interesting.
Because the rumor was, the people talking, it's like, so is it going to be directed by both? Or is it going to be directed by Snyder and then Whedon's going to have an executive producer or producer role, or what is this? And they gave him a screenplay role. So pretty interesting, because we saw none of the young Cyborg stuff that was filmed. In fact, fellow that played Cyborg's dad, I can't remember his name, but the dude from Terminator 2.
Yeah.
He said that a lot of the reshoots were there to change the tone of the Cyborg character. And I think they might have done that to make him seem even less dark with his transformation. So pulling up, if that is true, that's kind of cool because I kind of felt like this movie needed to be the movie that kind of broke away from the darkness.
Yes, absolutely.
BVS needed to be dark. It absolutely. I actually believe that that movie needs to be dark.
Also
That's a dark
true.
movie. It's in a time where, there's this shining ray of hope, and you're like try to slap it away like a cat that's afraid of a smell. You're like, get away from me! I don't want you. And then when you have denied it, and then you don't have it anymore, then the world seems even more bleak than it was before. And this movie, I really felt like, not considering Wonder Woman, because that's a whole different beast, is the best movie of the collected universe for for the DC movies here. I don't count Wonder Woman in that because obviously, number one,
It's a period piece.
I still haven't seen it.
Oh, brother, I'll get that to you. I'll get that to you tonight. We'll make that happen. You need to watch it. It's really good.
It's not about not having access to it.
It's
Not
time.
having time.
It's time. I know. Well, maybe
I still
when
haven't
you're.
watched Walking Dead. I still haven't watched Punisher.
Oh, Jesus. Punisher. We're sorry about that one, folks. We're slipping on our game on that one. We need to give you guys some Punisher coverage.
I would love to watch it. I would love to. But
I've heard great
we have
things.
Same here. I've heard it's pretty good, but it's either I'm at work, I'm podcasting, I'm watching the kids. So it's like we have been switching back and forth. The amount of time that me and her have had time to sit down together and watch something. By that time hits, it is 9:00 in the evening.
You're zonked.
And I'm like, I am wanting to eat and go to bed. And I can eat pretty fast. I only get 30 minutes for lunch at work. And I need to eat.
You got to scarf it.
I scarf it down. So a lot of times when it's getting late, I eat pretty fast. And then once I'm done eating, I might sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. And then I'm getting ready and I'm going to bed. And sometimes that's like 9:30. And sometimes the sheer process of me getting ready for bed can take another 10 to 15 minutes. So if we start it right at 9:00 and we started an episode, that means I'm going to be in bed maybe by 10:30. Maybe, depending on time. Because by the time I'm in bed, sometimes it takes me a half hour to fall asleep. That's 11 o'clock. That's 5 hours of sleep until my alarm goes off.
Not nice.
No. In a perfect world, I'm in bed at 9. It hasn't happened for a while.
Yeah.
For a long while. Back before Wyatt slept in his own bed, 9 o'clock on the dot, I was in bed. It was amazing. I digress. This movie, Justice League. If I'm going out of 10, because that's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna do the same thing I did for BVS. BVS, I gave the theatrical version a 7, and I upped it to 7.5 for the extended cut. That's higher than most, but not as high as Wes. Wes gave that movie a 9.
Okay, I want to try something. Wes gave BVS, I think he gave it like a 9.75, dude. It was up
high.
there. It was high.
I actually thought that's too high. The Menace movies got more issues than that. To watch these superhero movies, sometimes I got to turn my brain off.
Okay, here in a second, when you tell me your number, I'm going to put my number up on the screen to see if we have the same number, and then I'm going to say it. Because I don't want people to think I'm just copycatting you. I have my number already written down. It's right here.
All right. 8.4.
Okay, so we didn't copy. 8.25.
And I could just make it an 8.5. But I do feel like there were a few things in the movie that I noticed that were narratively done just to make stuff happen. And that sometimes that bugs me. Namely, I'm just going to jump right to it. The spot that bugged me is when Steppenwolf got the last box.
Yeah, just he got it. No worries. Everyone else is not paying attention to the box.
They use the box for something that we'll get to.
Yep.
Okay. Because I kind of want to like make it to where like if you're listening to the show, obviously we're going to talk about the movie, so we're going to have spoilers. But I want to have a legit spoilers from here on in.
Yeah. We're going spoiler free for a minute here, folks.
But they use it for something, and then they just leave it to go take care of whatever they're doing, and then they get the spot where it's like, and he's like, he's got the last box. It's like, go stop him.
Why is everyone just holding tight and doing nothing? You're superheroes, you fucks.
Well, I mean, you're not even attempting. You're just, and then who's the goofball that didn't go after that? They have a guy. I don't know if you noted this or noticed this about the movie. I mean, it was a pretty short movie at 2 hours, so you might have missed it. They have a guy who can run really fast.
I know, Brando. He was on my shoes.
I mean, he can run really fast.
Some would say he's the fastest man alive.
He could go get that thing on the way to their problem.
Nope.
I mean, this is my biggest problem with the movie, which is I'm very happy to say.
Yeah.
Very happy to say that this is my biggest problem with the movie. Because, of course, in the movie, bad guys got to have the advantage so that way the good guys can have the oh no Doomsday Clock scenario.
Hey.
Wink. But you could have found it. Could have been. It was just like, yeah, we're just going to leave it there. Yeah.
Fuck it. We don't need it.
Well, I mean, he's got all of them now, so.
What can we do? Game over.
And someone's like, hey, I can just imagine. Can you imagine being the one guy in the Justice League, And, I'm like, he's going to get it. And I can just imagine them going, he's going to get it anyway. End of the world thing? Well, I mean, we're going to need motivation later, so.
They're clearly setting us up to succeed in this scenario. One thing I will say about the movie, Brando, I felt that while it was a really good movie, really well done, it was a little bit simplistic in the story, I mean, like, it was just like very, very straightforward, and maybe back to basics is what they needed. But as I said earlier, when the Pitch Perfect 3 trailer is more complex than the entire Justice League movie, I don't know if that's a problem, but it's strange because I feel like you had a lot of opportunity to keep building these characters and could have made them do a little bit more diversifying their willingness to work together. This team just goes, okay, cool. Like, they don't really fully 100% believe in each other, but right away they're working together. Like, one thing happens and they're all like, oh shit, we can totally work as a team now.
Well, they're not quite that, but they're there.
And I mean, I know Aquaman is a little bit shoddy there after the first mission.
At least they're assembled, that's the thing, is that when they start working together for the first time, that's when they're like, yeah, we're all here. And then they do something. But it's not all sunshine and roses, because we even have, butting of heads of like Bruce and Diana. And I thought that was really good. The plot being simplistic is what this movie needed. 100%. 100%. With how convoluted BVS gets. I mean, and that Justice League is not without its plot holes. If you put on analysis mode, you could pick this movie apart. Pick it apart. And so this, you could just start writing out bullet points. The thing is that what I want from my superhero movies, I want to be able to turn that part of my brain off. Because when you're reading a comic book, when you're doing these characters, you got to have some suspension of belief.
Absolutely.
Things happen, and even with story, there are exceptions when stuff when plot line is just done bad. BVS had a pretty bad plot line, especially number one, having a completely incompetent detective of a Batman. It was just,
oh my God.
And then in this movie, he figures out who Aquaman is right then and there from a painting on the wall.
He's like, oh, it's you.
Oh, it's you. Okay.
You. Oh, duh. Obviously, it's you.
So I mean,
your
it's
fucking
like,
weird eyes gave it away.
I mean, was Bruce just really that racist towards Superman? If you could say racist
Towards Superman, or you mean Aquaman?
Well, no. In BVS, how he was like so dead set against Superman. He was
I got you.
He's an outsider. He's an alien. Get off my lawn. Go back where you came from. I'm building a wall around Gotham. No aliens.
Now it's called Arkham City. Wink.
Hey. Dude, this movie was awesome, but simplistic in setup and tone. Villains is completely 100% forgettable, but that's okay.
You
don't need
to
have
a forgettable villain.
You don't need to have it would benefit it if you had a better villain. Yes, it definitely would give it a few notches up. But I mean, there's not really that many other villains that would really take that role that you would really need the Justice League to unite against. Lex is one of them. Lex with the right plot is one of them, but you don't want to do that again. You just did it. So why would you do that again? Obviously, you're tiptoeing towards Darkseid, but you don't want to do Darkseid yet. Not yet, because then who are they going to fight next time?
Starro.
So
that's legit. That was the first villain that the Justice League faced when they debuted was Starro. He's a giant starfish from outer space.
Who's going?
You weren't ready for that. The look on Brando's face. The look on your face was priceless just then, because you're just like, of course, it's just a starfish from outer space.
I was actually thinking of Misty from Pokemon throwing out
a Staryu or a Starmie.
And have you ever noticed that they really don't say their names? Or at least Staryu didn't?
No.
Like it just went, ha!
Really?
Yeah, they just kind of yelled, ha! I thought it was fine as far as having a forgettable villain. He's there. He's this destroyer of worlds. He's there to mess stuff up. I've made this comparison. When you set up the Avengers movie versus the Justice League movie, the bonus thing that the Avengers has is that these characters have been established. You already had a Thor movie, so you already know who he is. You already had a Captain movie, you know who he is. Iron Man, you know who he is. Hulk had his own movie. It's a different actor, same character. You know who he is. You've even seen Nick Fury already.
And Black Widow.
Hawkeye's the only new guy.
No, he's in Thor for a little bit. Briefly, you barely see him.
Okay. But the main villain's Loki with a stick, and he causes an alien invasion. That's wow. Cool. It's to me, the first Avengers movie, I felt like this movie was every bit as good as that, while having more character development.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But the reason why they have more character development is because they're just introducing 3 new characters all at once.
Also true.
Where they get sloppy is that with 3 new characters, they kind of chose to focus more on Cyborg and Flash, and Aquaman's kind of has a little bit, and then he doesn't have any at all towards the end. And of course, because at that point, then they got to shift back because of a certain Kryptonian. Man, I cannot talk. My lips are all all over the place. It's cold back here, by the way.
Kryptonian.
I think I called him a Kryptonian.
A Kryptonian, yes. Ribbit.
It's a fucking battle toad. So yeah, they need to drive the plot over there for a little bit because because bringing him back into the story, you've got to spend some time with him. You got to get what's he doing? What's going on? And then of course there's plot lines there to go through. But overall, a thumbs up on this movie. It was enjoyable. I hate to say I wasn't expecting it, but I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. And unfortunately, that's not being reflected in the critics. They're tearing this movie apart, but not as much as the other one. Have you seen the percentage discrepancy on Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah, the percentage discrepancy is ridiculous because, well, and then there's some controversy with Rotten Tomatoes too I want to talk about. There's a lot of little intricate parts to this Justice League thing going on. So the discrepancy is ridiculous because I want to say like critics are giving it like 25 and under percentage, and then like user or viewers, the fans, are in the 75 up tier. And that's like a big, that's a 50% gap or 50, point gap. So that's one thing. I will say that there was a Rotten Tomato critic, like somebody who uses Rotten Tomatoes as a film critic to discuss what he thinks about films, who went to log in, and there was already a review from his account that he didn't write for the movie. And he was like, what is going on? Like, why would they do that?
All right, so Justice League on Rotten Tomatoes, as I get an ad for 3 billboards.
Of course.
Is 41% fresh. So BVS at 27.
Yeah.
Audience score is 83%.
Okay, so I was 6 points off. Not bad.
And then, all right, let's go to IMDb and check out IMDb's percentage here, because these could vary per, Wow, is that a cat?
Yeah, Ami just appeared on the podcast. What's up, kitty? We're talking Justice League.
All right, so IMDb user rating gave this a 7.4. So like a 1 point down from where I put it. Metacritic. Let's go to Metacritic. The Metascore from the reviews, the critics, gave it a 46. And if I go to Metacritic, because I want to say they also have a user score thing as well. Because that one is also like Metacritic and some of these sites. Sometimes it's really hard to believe this, because like something like Breath of the Wild that gets like all 10s from everybody, the users they'll downgrade it just to see it go down. User score for Justice League here is a 7.1.
That's all like respectable scores from the fans. Why are critics shitting on this movie so hard?
So let's go to Batman v Superman. Batman v Superman gave this a Metacritic. What? What did I say that Metacritic score was?
7.1 for Justice.
Well, no, the actual critic score. Was that a
43?
46.
46.
BVS, the Metascore based on 51 critics is 44 for BVS.
What?
And based on user score is 7.1.
I don't think that's right, because I think Justice League is leaps and bounds better than BVS.
I think it is too, but what's up with these scores? Like I don't remember like that is like off to me. Like that seems like way freaking high from where that was when we talked about that movie.
All right, what do you think, Brando? Should we dive into some actual spoilery parts of this movie and get into some of the thickness of this film? So
I'm going to Rotten Tomatoes again, because I'm like, what did you guys give Batman v Superman? Obviously, you guys didn't give this damn thing of like anywhere near that. Yeah, like you couldn't have. Rotten Tomatoes hated that movie.
While Brando's doing this looking upage, I need to go on my soapbox real quick, because Nate needs to eat a little bit of crow right now. This is apologetic Nate saying to Ezra Miller, I'm sorry I said you would never be the Flash and that you couldn't be the Flash, and fuck you, you're not my Flash. While you are no Grant Gustin, sir, you are still great, and it was a very, very, very fun thing to watch you perform as Barry Allen in the movie, kind of relive the early goings of Barry after his father's been thrown in jail, not too far after he's gotten all of his new powers and abilities. I will say, if they are doing anything like the comics, they gave him the wrong color lightning, in my opinion, would be the only thing I would complain about. He shouldn't already be at blue lightning if he just got his powers. He should be more at a yellow lightning, because he's still learning to use his powers. That's just me critiquing. Overall, though, I really did sincerely think Ezra Miller did a great job. He was comedic, funny. He was one of the better parts of this movie. He gave the movie a comedic levity that helped you feel like you were in something that was a little bit more real, and it wasn't just this over-the-top superhero fantasy.
He reminded me like a mixture of the animated series Flash and like what Spider-Man is to the Marvelverse.
Absolutely.
With a younger character, he's very kind of immature, very overwhelmed by the fact that he's hanging out with Batman. You know?
That's your sign. Oh, that's your sign. That means we have to go. Yes, well, it does mean we have to go.
The only joke that I didn't like was, it's like a cave. A bat cave.
Yeah, that one didn't land with me because
I didn't like that, but then I liked how he was zooming all around the cave, looking at shit, and then he's in the car. He's like, "Whoa,
like, this is amazing."
I liked that because, I mean, Batman in this universe has been around for 20 years. He's a kid. He's grown up in Central City, but like he knows who Batman is. He's heard of him.
So as soon as Bruce throws that batarang at him,
yes, that look. Of course, that's the trailer. It's like it looks back at him.
Oh shit, that's Batman. That's Batman, and he just told me he's Batman. Why me? You know. And then
he's
Bruce
eating
is
that
like,
day-old pizza.
Yeah, he's like, "You're fast." And Bruce is like, "You're fast." He's like, "I think that's an oversimplification of my powers."
I dug the Flash a lot in this movie. I liked how he like when their first meetup with Steppenwolf was going to happen, and he instantly got scared because that's exactly what he would do. He's like, he's not a hero, you know. Like this is his first time ever doing anything like this, really. Actually using his shit for good, or using his shit to do something and accomplish something. And so when it's like, he's like, no, I'm not like you guys. No, I'm just a kid. I don't fight people. I'm not a fighter. And then I love that. I actually really liked the line from Batman. It's like, save one person.
It was absolutely a great thing for Batman to say to him, because it was like the perfect, what's the word I'm looking for? It was the perfect amount of leadership that gave Barry the confidence to realize if he saved one person, he could probably save two, which means he could probably save 15 or 30 or however many people he ends up saving down there, which was awesome. That was a really great moment there. And then, of course, all hell breaks loose, and during the Steppenwolf fight, which is only with the five of them. It's it's the four of them. It's Batman, Cyborg, Wonder Woman, and Flash. Mm-hmm. And Batman's got the crawler, and they're fighting Steppenwolf, and it's a lot. Most of it is him like really calling shit out on Wonder Woman and talking about how he just slaughtered a bunch of the Amazonian women and just got that mother box and really rubbing it in her face. And then he breaks the wall because they're like kind of resisting him, and they're starting to kind of figure their shit out. So he breaks the wall, which releases the water. And as soon as they release the water from Gotham Harbor, correct, I was like, oh, somehow, some way, here comes Aquaman. And sure as shit,
boom.
The one time he really used his water power in the whole movie, if you noticed, like really used it, was to hold that water back. And then, of course, there's the whole dressed like a bat. I dig it, you know?
I liked, from him, the spot that I liked the most was probably the lasso of truth.
Oh yeah, when Diana has the lasso around him, and he's just like,
it's near the end of the movie, and they're all like saying like all this stuff, and then he's kind of like the downer like of the group, and he's like, "We're all gonna die. I don't care. I'm okay with dying." And you know he's trying to be the badass, and then it's almost instant because then it's like, "Yeah, I don't want to die." He goes, and then he's like, talking about like the group and everything,
You're hot.
And then Bruce is like pointing, and he realizes the lasso's on his leg, and he's like embarrassed and goes to Flash. He's like, "You say anything."
I actually also really liked the cyborg character in this movie, Brando.
You know what? As kind of plain Jane as like personality wise as he is, I dug him because he's almost kind of like he's the one of the group that sees his powers or his whole situation like this is not his gift, it's a curse. And he's got to kind of go through that motions in this movie of accepting this as a gift.
Yeah, and he's ever learning. I think that was a really cool thing too. During the movie, he's constantly evolving his knowledge, and it's noticeable. He's like, "Oh, your crawler that's broke as shit right now, Bruce? Give me a second. Let me take it over. Got it handled.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this needs to be taken
like,
care of. Let me lock in."
He's so resistant of his abilities, and it's like he's scared of all this new knowledge that he's getting in all the time. And so I don't think that he 100% like really like embraces it. But those moments that he does, it's like he just knows what to do.
Absolutely.
The moment that he lets all that in, and like, you know, he really rises to the occasion. Really cool moment. Okay, and I'm kind of we've been skipping around just a little bit, but of course I've always said that the Avengers movie. The whole movie was made for one scene, and that's the scene of them in the middle of New York with that Matrix camera going around the group, panning around as they're all like standing in a circle. Well, like the end shot of this movie's got to be all of them standing in a row with the wind blowing in the capes, you know?
Oh, it's awesome.
It's got to be. Well, what's cool is that earlier on in the movie, like Flash and Cyborg do something, and Flash tries to fist bump him. Cyborg just leaves them hanging, and Flash feels like an idiot. But when they're standing up there doing that line with the wind blowing, there's the fist bump. And finally, the two characters fist bump, and I like that little touch because it's not even like overly noticeable, but it's there right off to the side of the screen. Where if you're looking over there at like Aquaman and Batman, you're not paying attention. But those two characters, they just ever so slightly like, yeah, we got this, you know. And then finally, they've kind of got to that level, and I really dug that. Now we're gonna go, and they showed the background.
Spoiler alert. We should spoiler alert from now on officially, right?
Sure.
We still haven't like really super dove into anything that's important.
I thought well, okay, because I thought you said spoilers already, but. From this point on. So when the plot for Steppenwolf got explained, we saw flashbacks of the old battle with the Amazonians, the Atlanteans, the human clans, and the Lantern Corps. So we saw fucking lanterns sweeping around with the fucking ring turning into a fucking hammer, smashing through like motherfuckers. And it looked badass.
We saw the death of a lantern and the ring fly off, which I'm going to presume doesn't go to Hal Jordan. It's way too early in the timeline. But it's setting up the history that the lantern's rings can go and do their own thing, that they're almost sentient in themselves.
So, yeah, I marked out big for that because, like, we all knew that we weren't getting Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart, anybody, or even the Corps. We knew we weren't getting that in this movie unless they were just being so tight-lipped about it. But to see that they have been not only acknowledged in that one trailer by saying, yeah, Earth is defenseless, it doesn't have anybody now. No, and he names drops like the Lanterns. Well, now we know for a fact that they exist because we've seen them and know that they're going to be coming at some point. That they're going to be put like into this universe. Now, I kind of liked how simplistic it was just by showing us what had happened, and then showing how the three boxes got separated, with man's box being buried. Atlantis was eventually sunk down in the ocean, like underwater, and then of course the Amazonians, they had theirs. Steppenwolf's back now. He's going to try and unite the boxes and like use it to destroy the planet. All right, so that means we got to stop him. Yada, 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 unite everybody. You got to do all this kind of stuff. Now, after their encounter, really, with Steppenwolf, that's when Bruce kind of comes up with this idea.
It's what's weird? It was an idea that I didn't even think about. Like, I didn't even put it together that that's what they could do. And maybe that's because I was a little bit blatantly ignorant to Victor Stone's backstory with how the Mother Box brings him back to life and how that affects him. But this idea that Bruce has is one that could definitely rip the team in half if it goes wrong. No pun intended.
Well, I liked it because it was so different in theory for, how they did the Death of Superman storyline in BVS. Somehow found a way to cram that in there. And then, so we go into this movie with Superman being dead. So we have to get Superman back. And in the comics, he wakes up.
I was only sleeping.
Wakes up with a mustache. I'm telling you, man, just leave the mustache. Leave it. Let Superman be a porn star for a little bit. That's cool.
It was too obvious, Brando. If we're going to get into that mustache for a second, it was like kind of bad how obvious it was. Like, look, I get it if you're CGIing a whole character because they might not exist anymore or they might be on the cusp of death or not look like they used to or whatever. This was just like contracts and stupidity is what I want to call it, Because Henry Cavill has a contract that says, can't shave this mustache because you're doing this movie because we don't want to give you a prosthetic mustache because that looks like shit on your face. So then Joss gets a hold of Justice League and is like, shit, we got all these reshoots now and I have these ideas and I got to find a way to maybe introduce Shazam. We're going to talk about that Easter egg in a second. And what are we going to do here? How are we going to utilize these reshoots? What can we do? Oh my God, Henry Cavill has a fucking mustache we can't get rid of. We can't prosthetics over it. It'll look even worse. So maybe we'll CGI it.
You end up covering it with makeup like
Caesar Romero, yeah.
Caesar Romero, Jokers from like the old 60s television show where you just put the white makeup over it, but now you're just putting flesh color makeup over it.
Oh, God. It looked bad. It was noticeable, but I'm pretty sure that the first scene of the movie, which is a scene from a cell phone, is Billy Bastion, who has become Shazam in the future, and he's wanting to get an interview for his podcast. That was cool. It was like, podcasts have finally got the mark. It made it perfectly. Hold on, time out 1 second, folks. I just want to say, Sarah, thank you so much. She's bringing me food and a pop during the podcast because I haven't eaten today yet. So I'm really appreciative of that. And back to the regularly scheduled program. Anyways,
Sarah's the JIC MVP.
She is the JIC MVP. Shit, she was there. She saw Justice League. She thought it was okay, but a little too simplistic. But Henry Cavill's stash, Brando, what did you think of this stash of obviousness?
I really didn't notice it. It's funny because with how much you noticed it was how much I really didn't even pay attention to that at all.
Okay, so you gotta go ahead.
I was actually sucked into the movie at this point. I was more kind of keeping track of what was going on.
It was one of those things, Brando, where because I'm partially deaf, I read people's lips a lot just to make sure I'm like trying to get the most out of hearing what they're saying. So I'm immediately looking at his lips, and I'm just like, wait a minute, this is kind of fucking weird. Is this a video game? Is this like a teaser for... Oh, it's actually the movie. Holy shit. But you know what? It wasn't terrible. It wasn't ridiculously noticeable and ended the whole movie for me. It is something we have to talk about because they did spend $1.5 million to remove Henry Cavill's mustache when all you had to do is join Dollar Shave Club and save $1.499 million. You know what I'm saying?
We are not sponsored by Dollar Shave Club, but if they would like to sponsor our podcast, I'm just saying. Prime. promo there.
That was a great promo.
Actually,
Shit.
I need to switch chairs because, dude, I'm sitting in like this like WWE style like steel chair, and because I had to bring a different chair in here for when we did the episode about Stranger Things. Dude, this thing is like pushing into my butt and it hurts.
Yeah, switch it up, bro. That's the best thing you can do. As I eat my food so terribly on the podcast. Sarah made this delicious like rice with veggies. It's like got garlic and potato and mushroom and broccoli and maybe some cheese, maybe some cauliflower. No, there's no cauliflower, but there's definitely cheese and rice. It's
Cheese and rice.
Cheese and rice. Jesus Chrysler. That's an old reference, folks, that no one's going to get.
Oh, dude, I say that at work sometimes, and people look at me like, well, that's pretty clever. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I wish I came up with it.
Just makes me giggle sometimes.
Yeah, man. So, to kind of continue on, I loved Wonder Woman in the movie. Obviously, she was great. The story is kind of convoluted because it's like so quickly Steppenwolf gets all three mother boxes. Like, he blows through the Amazonians, he goes and fights Mera, and then Aquaman shows up and puts up a hell of a fight, honestly. He just gets overwhelmed. The mother box gets taken. You've also got to assume that Bruce is mostly to blame for the parademons showing up because he's instilling all this fear in Gotham, and parademons feed on fear. So then he starts utilizing that to draw them out, and he's like kind of figuring out Lex's plan. He's trying to figure out this overall plan. Maybe Lex was going to like bring Steppenwolf back to cleanse the earth or something. I just feel like that's weird. But, they did a good job. They unite at the end of the movie. They kick Steppenwolf's ass handily. Cyborg teams up with Superman to tear the mother boxes apart. Flash,
Wait, who?
Batman or Superman and Cyborg.
I thought you said Steppenwolf and Superman.
Shit, Cyborg and Superman tear the mother boxes apart.
Steppenwolf's like, dude, I'm so sorry.
One
I've
scene
been
I
a
want.
complete dick for the last 1,000 years.
So we haven't actually alluded to it yet. Let's actually talk about this because I'm just talking about Superman a little bit, and I realize we haven't told people like how that even works. So since we're in the spoiler land, they utilize the mother box, Bruce's plan. That's where we were originally at before we got tangential. Bruce's plan with the mother box is, hey, we're gonna bring Superman back. Like, that's smart, right? We can just resurrect him. There's no biggie there. And it actually takes them planning together to make this happen, Like, they've got to utilize the Flash to get the lightning at the exact moment, and, they're kind of all in a wait, and they're not really sure what's going to happen. And, of course, all hell literally breaks loose as soon as Superman gets brought back to life. In that moment, he wants to kill Bruce, I think.
Absolutely, dude. There's not much that his mind is pretty fractured, which I thought was a pretty cool thing because then you have this absolute, on the fringe Superman with all this power, all this ability, ready to tear some shit up. And one of my favorite moments, me and Blaine gushed about this, was when they're trying to hold him back, right? And Flash is going to try and run around him, and Flash is running, and they're doing that little effect they do in the movie that where they slow down time because he's running so fast, and you see Superman's eye just catch him, and he's following him, and then he's going, what? Like, he's realizing that Superman is following him.
Superman's fast as fuck.
And it kind of flips him out. Superman breaks free of the rest of the group and swings at Flash. Doesn't hit him. Flash was able to kind of overcorrect himself, but then he ends up running into something. I can't remember if that was like a step or.
I think he run into he trips and runs into the memorial, the Superman memorial that's over there.
Yeah. I couldn't remember if it was the steps or if it was the memorial, but yeah, when he sees Bruce, that's the first thing that he sees that he absolutely recognizes, because it's that symbol that instilled so much emotion in him so close before his death. It's one of the last things that he remembers.
He barely knows Diana.
I
mean, he only teamed up with them for a second.
I loved the like the headbutt scene where like she's trying to stop him, and I believe he headbutts her, and then she headbutts him, and then he puts her ass right in the damn ground.
Oh yeah,
boom! I have to say that I really love this newest iteration of Superman, and I'm not the biggest Superman fan.
It was much better.
Well, like just in this universe, I really dig their caricature of Superman, and I love what they're doing with him on film, and what they're capable of doing and making him seem like this badass. You normally don't think of Superman as a badass. He's this altruistic character. You know, it's like take Captain America, but you don't see Captain America doing this kind of stuff. I mean, like this is some serious Hulk shit here that he has the power of. And so then he finally gets his hands on Bruce, and of course, like they made the joke earlier when Alfred was like he's pretty much disagreeing with Bruce, saying, "You're really going to do this? You know, like what are we going to do if it doesn't work?" And if he goes, you know, all hell goes wire. He goes, "We have big guns." He goes, "Those are some big guns, sir." And I love the guns that he chooses because it's Lois.
Yes, and it was perfect because Bruce is getting the shit choked out of him, and it looks like it is done for, lights out, game over, Bruce no more, and Lois steps out of the car, Alfred driving her, and it was, Clark immediately realizes who it is. It immediately kind of brings him back and grounds him in reality, like, oh wait, hold on. I'm not filled with this rage. I'm not thinking about whatever being dead was like. It was actually really kind of a beautiful moment because he takes her away, and they go back to the farmhouse where Clark grew up.
And that got repossessed by the bank.
Which was repossessed by the bank, and then she's like, you remembered, and he's like, I'll never forget home. And I loved, and that's a subplot that was really good in this movie that I haven't talked about enough, is the subplot about Clark's parents' house. Because this is almost an eye for an eye, righting a wrong kind of thing when the movie is ending, and Bruce doesn't buy the house. He surpassed just being a nice guy and just buying the house for Clark. That would have been a lot cheaper, I think. He just bought the whole fucking bank.
Yeah. Well, the fact that Bruce used Lois to counteract Superman's rage, memory loss, inability, whatever, is that's right out of the comics. And it's also evident in one of my favorite Batman stories, Hush.
Yes.
They put Lois in danger to break Superman out of his spell. And then he runs off to save Lois when she's in danger, effectively breaking the spell. That's not the same thing here, but it's used to the same effect. And I really dug it. That it makes it's giving you the sense that Batman really has his shit about him, which is the exact opposite message that we had from BVS, where he's running off of his emotions.
Absolutely. One thing I also loved about this scene here and what's going on is they did not spend a lot of time with Clark and Lois reminiscing and, oh my God, I love you and miss you. He's like, well, they fucking need me, gotta go. And she's like, yeah, right. they need you, you better get going. Like, I love you, I'm happy you're good.
They gave him just enough time for his mom to show back up in that ratty ass truck that she has.
Yes.
Now, a guy that I work with brought this up to me. He goes, Superman died, saving the world, and his mom lost the house, and no one thought to put up a GoFundMe.
That's not the world they live in.
I'm just saying, like, it's funny though.
In that timeline, there's no GoFundMe, Brando.
There's no GoFundMe. It was like, dude. Another thing here. All right, here's something that has been brought up. So, end of the movie, Clark is there at the house. They're kind of rebuilding, or they're repairing the house. There's new furniture. They're getting moved in. Of course, Bruce is there now. Bruce having, as you said, bought the bank that foreclosed on the house. So, how are they going to explain Clark's death? Because they had a funeral for him. He had a gravestone. There was an obituary in the Daily Planet.
That's a great question, Brando. I'm guessing he's going to be off the grid. Maybe he won't work with the Daily Planet. Maybe
he was walking around Metropolis in the Clark Kent getup.
That's true. Okay, so that's a plot hole. That is definitely a plot hole. Okay, I didn't even see. That's one I didn't even think about.
And it's just like, that's just something that, you know what? Turn my brain off. I'll accept it. But it's like,
there's only one way to reverse that. If he's going to work for the Daily Planet, that means that everybody, Perry White and co, have to know who he really is. Or at least Perry White has to know, and then they have to say that it wasn't really Clark Kent, it was his twin brother that died, and it was a great mistake or some shit, But, like, I feel like Perry White has to know, we don't have Jimmy Olsen in this universe anymore, Brando.
For a second, I tried to be a smartass and tried to do the whole, like, reversing the letters.
Yeah, spoonerism?
For Clark Kent.
Clark Clint?
Well, I mean, if you just take, like, the first letter from each of his names.
It's still Clark Kent.
I know. That's what I'm getting at. So you would have to take the Clark Clint. But then that sounds racist.
Why does that sound racist?
It sounds like a very poor like this poor Asian fellow who can't speak English very well.
Clark Clint.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
And the white chi. Sooner or later we're gonna have Tyler on this show because he's running the entire Journey into Comics Network gamut. He told me about this story about working at Penn Station, and these Japanese guys that come in from the company that I work for, and would come in for lunch once a week and always get the same thing. And please excuse me, guys. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna have to mimic their tone and their way of talking, but.
The following is an impersonation and does not reflect our views on any people.
I'm not trying to make fun of anybody, but he wanted the Philly cheesesteak with the white cheese. And so he's going, do you want white cheese or light cheese? Yes.
Of course.
He's like, all right. Do you want mayo, mustard, or pizza sauce? Yes.
Choose one, please.
Dude, they put all three of them on there.
Oh, my God, really?
Yeah. And he said he never really quite knew what he wanted, so sometimes he'd give him 2 slices of cheese, and other times he'd give him 4, and the dude never said anything.
Well, if he's not going to complain about it, he's just going to eat whatever he's going to fucking eat.
Oh, man. But then it just dawned on me, like, I actually like the Penn Station Philly cheesesteak, and I just couldn't imagine getting it with mayo, mustard, and pizza sauce. That's an awful combination.
Oh, gross. Oh, nasty.
So we get Superman back, and of course our heroes are off to save the day. And Superman shows up, right in the nick of time. Of course,
Always.
drops the justice line, hokey but needed.
Perfect.
I loved when they established the fact that they have innocent civilians here by focusing on this one family
And an entire alleged apartment complex.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is I love it because while they're fighting Steppenwolf, Superman hears that there's innocent civilians. I think Batman says like flashes on it or something.
Yep.
And Superman says there's too many of them. So then he takes off, and Flash is running, and then Superman's catching up to him. And he looks at him, and then Flash is giving that same look that he gave him whenever he first caught his eye.
How's he doing that look?
And then he's like, and then Superman says, "Slowpoke." I dug that. And then they started talking about like we need to save people, and Superman's like, "I got the ones on the right." And then Flash finds that family and their truck that broke down, pushes the truck to safety. He's like really proud of himself. He looks over and there's Superman carrying a whole building full of people.
An entire fucking building.
Dude, some of the attempts at humor kind of fell flat in this movie, but when they got it right, it was good.
Absolutely agree.
That tells me that this movie throughout everything had all the recipe that it needed to be for a really good movie. And then of course, they ended up beating the day. They end up beating Steppenwolf, smashing his axe. We don't know what happened to Steppenwolf because he got assaulted by the parademons because they sensed his fear.
And that had to be a major amount of fear, man. His only weapon that he's been pillaging with just got devastated.
And so then he ends up getting beamed up by Scotty and the Enterprise. Back up to wherever he's going. He's bringing a whole bunch of parademons with him. And then, dude, our movie kind of comes to a close. We had 2 after-credit scenes, one mid-credit, one after-credit. I actually, right before the movie was ending, I was trying to look up to see if there were one. Because, DC isn't really, known for doing that.
No, they aren't.
But why not? Just go ahead and do it because I liked both of them.
Yeah, and before we talk about the 2 after-credit scenes, I want to mention that the end of the movie ends on Bruce, Diana, and Alfred.
Oh, at Wayne Manor because Bruce has been living in the lake house, and this is one of the scenes that they reshot or whatever with them walking into the destroyed and decrepit Wayne Manor. And Bruce is talking about redoing the place and having a big round table with 6 chairs. And
with
Diana
room
says,
to expand.
And with room for more. And of course they're talking about turning Wayne Manor into the Hall of Justice. It's like, holy shit, that's kind of cool. Because
it's a different take.
It is a different take, but it kind of makes sense. It's like, would you put the Hall of Justice in the middle of Metropolis?
No.
Kind of not in this world. But when you have a building that's not being used, and it's right connected to Wayne and all that stuff, nobody goes out there. Why not?
It's a perfect space.
Not only is it a central meetup, but then the Batcave is right around the corner. So if they need to go down there to check out something, it's there. It's just, I thought it was really cool.
Let's talk about the post-after-credit scenes. There's a mid-credit scene that we didn't need. I totally am kind of flustered that they wasted this, and I'll explain because this has already been done on TV. The scene, who's the fastest of the 2, They did on Supergirl in the first time they had a CW crossover with the CBS show when Supergirl was on CBS still and Flash was still in its second season, I think. It was second season because he opened up the portal to the different Earth and then goes in there. Kara and Barry race to figure out who's faster, and then this was the exact same thing, but it was Barry and Clark, and I will say I loved how they did it though.
We'll see. Like for me, being someone who completely boycotts television, I really enjoyed it.
Well, yeah, like I said, it was well done. I just was thinking, man, they could have done something different, but I'm not going to complain about it because, like I said, I really enjoyed how they did it. I loved the Flash, sparks the little firecracker and throws it, and then as soon as it cracks, boom, they're gone. Off to the races.
Barry's facing the wrong direction at first.
Yeah, because of course he is.
But then that brings us to the very, very, very end. And, of course, it brings us to somebody who we got told originally got cut from the movie.
Yeah. And
but was in the after credit, and we're talking about Lex Luthor makes an appearance here. Of course, they start off in the penitentiary where he last saw him at the end of BVS, and they're calling for the inmates to leave the cell. Lex isn't leaving his cell. The dude stomps down there to get him, and it's not Lex; it's some other bald dude that's just laughing maniacally at him
because he's been poisoned. And
then we get a cut to what I presume is Gotham Harbor or somewhere in between Gotham Metropolis. There's a big old yacht. There's a boat heading there. And, of course, Lex is on the yacht, but somebody else joins him, Nate.
Oh, man. That was a dope fucking moment. For sure.
Dude. I mean, this was it, man. Fucking Deathstroke steps off the little speedboat onto the yacht, walks up, and has a conversation with Lex.
Unmasks.
Yeah, he unmasks, and holy shit.
Slade Wilson is an old man in this universe, which makes sense. Perfect for the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like he's going to be a hired gun for Lex to maybe form the, what do they call that? The Legion of Doom.
The Legion of Doom. What a rush. And...
What a rush.
Dude, that's got me so excited. And I just read the other day that they're having a Deathstroke movie.
Really?
Yeah, and so I always thought that Deathstroke was the villain for the new Batman movie.
Yeah.
Which is where I thought they were going with this.
Isn't that what they were doing? Didn't Affleck share footage of him as that exact Deathstroke?
Yeah, so one would assume that, but it looks like they're going to be doing something more with the character if they're still doing that. So he's going to get his own standalone movie, for which I say, in a different way, okay? I'm not saying that you do it just to copy, because obviously this is apples and oranges. But I think he could be the rated R movie.
Makes sense. It would make sense to make it rated R. He's a total badass. He's got the katanas and the guns, and it's similar to...
More violence.
Yeah, more violence. It would be less comedic and gross in that way, like how Deadpool was, and more on the violent tone. More Punisher, let's say.
Yes, absolutely. But that's got me really excited. And then, of course, after all that, we talked about what's going on with Affleck again, because is this new news? Is this old news? That's new news. That is not known, because it kind of sounds like to me that back when they were having the question of commitment with Affleck, I feel like this is where this story takes place, and that it's just breaking out now because somebody opened their mouth and said something.
Well, Matt Reeves said he's expressed interest in Jake Gyllenhaal replacing Ben Affleck if Affleck steps down. Now, does that mean that Matt Reeves was just having his ducks in a row and preparing So if that happens, he has his man, or is this him slipping up and saying maybe that Batfleck has said he's done? And there's actually a couple rumors I want to throw your way that I've heard recently in regards to all of this, All
right, so from what I read, somebody else said that Reeves has said that.
Ooh.
So Reeves hasn't come out and said this to anybody other than to this person. And it's almost like the Casey Affleck's thing all over again. It's like somebody else who knows somebody involved with it has said something.
And they shouldn't have said nothing.
And so what I personally feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I personally feel that we are in a situation where we had all that stuff in the summer about there being question, right? Affleck's future in this. And then he kind of come out and said, no, I'm in. And then he signed a 3-picture deal. I think as of right now, he's safe. He's definitely going to make the first one. I feel like he's definitely going to make that first one. Okay?
I agree with that.
But I bet they had to actually sit down and discuss the possibility of what are we going to do with the project if Affleck backs out after Justice League. And I bet you, dude, you have to talk about names. And I guarantee you that's what got brought up. And the reason why his name is being talked about is because he was a favorite of Reeves. But that doesn't mean that as of November, whatever it is, when that story came out, that Reeves is like, I want Gyllenhaal in case he backs out. Why would he be talking about that now?
Well,
because Affleck's already signed the deal.
That's true. That is true. But, one thing we should talk about with Justice League, the numbers. It was projected Justice League would end with a $96 million opening weekend, the lowest DCEU opening weekend. However, it's worse. It only opened at $94 million. So they lost $2 million in transit. It did well overseas. I think it did almost $157 million or something like that overseas. But right now it's tracking to lose, and that's unfortunate. Is that going to affect Ben Affleck's want to do more of these movies? And it doesn't mean that if Jake Gyllenhaal takes over, he would be Bruce Wayne. That's one thing we have to remember. There are other Batmans they could put into play here if they choose to go the if they choose to go the Jake Gyllenhaal route if Ben Affleck leaves.
Yeah, I mean, you could do Grayson. You could even do Jason Todd. Not in a way.
What about Beyond? Was that Bruce Timm?
That was that was Tim Bruce, but that was
Tim Bruce.
McGinnis. Tim Bruce.
Bruce Timm.
That was Terry. Terry's young though. I mean, Terry's like a teenager.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I mean, yeah, I really don't know. I know that we talked about the other day them possibly stopping production on this universe after Aquaman. I don't think it's going to happen because we already got Wonder Woman in development. We got a Flash in development. They're already 2 into this. We have another Suicide Squad happening.
Flash had a big announcement that happened this week for the movie. Batman confirmed is a part of Flashpoint.
Yes.
Which means Negan is Batman.
Please make it happen. Don't recast him.
Is that the Don't Recast Him theme? Please make it happen. Don't recast him.
I do, because I could definitely see, like, I mean, it really was a throwaway role, really, at the end of the day, for Jeffrey Dean Morgan to play,
if this happens,
Tom Wayne, but
if this happens, does that make him like the Stan Lee of the DC verse? Because he will have played comedian and Batman and Bruce Wayne's father, Thomas Wayne, and then if you're getting really trippy into comics, he's Negan. Like, what?
Nice little segue there about the comedian, because we're going to talk about Doomsday Clock.
Yes.
Now, I read it just today.
It came out today.
I loved it.
It was amazing.
Dude, like, I was skeptic because I didn't know how I was going to read. Because you have, I mean, you're talking about involving the Watchmen into the overall DC verse. The fucking book reads like the Watchmen.
Yes, it does. It felt very much a Watchmen book first.
And I loved it. Holy crap. So, like, this book is it's as much as it's a crossover, it is a sequel to the Watchmen book. And Rorschach is back, but it's not Rorschach.
I'm wondering who it is.
It's a new Rorschach. Now, I actually just pulled up an article while we were talking, and Jeff Johns explains Rorschach's return.
Okay, please do.
So it's a long-ass article, but here's a quote from Johns. He says, much like Watchmen, there's another Night Owl, there's another Silk Spectre. In my mind, there can be another Rorschach. It also preserves what I think is one of the best moments in the original Watchmen, is his death. But the character is so iconic and his voice is so iconic that I wanted to do a different version of it. The original Watchmen cast was also predominantly white, and John said there was a conscious effort to bring diversity to the story, but there's more to it than that, explaining that his race ties a lot into other things into the story. He's also pointed out that another new character, the Mime, is Hispanic. So, the new Rorschach moves, looks, sounds like Rorschach.
Reads like Rorschach. Holy shit.
So it's basically, as of right now, until like the story possibly like reveals more, it's just a new dude who has kind of taken up the mantle of Rorschach and really just like become that character.
Hard selling that he is the Rorschach.
Because I actually like that, because that way, you know, when people look at this and go, they brought back Rorschach, what the fuck, he died. It's not Rorschach, it's Rorschach. We're still getting Rorschach without undoing what the original book did. Because immediately when I was thinking about what they're going to do with that, and I'm like, well, I was thinking that they're going to do some timey-wimey thing, but no.
Manhattan bringing him back.
Something. Not out of the question, but I actually really like how the book read, and it's narrated by Rorschach for most of it. And, of course, pretty much the whole world is going to hell in a handbasket after the New York incident with Ozymandias.
Yeah, 300 million dead?
3 million.
3 million dead. My fault.
Yeah, you added a couple zeros to that, my friend.
A little excited there.
But, yeah, a lot of people dead. He's a wanted man. And, and of course he's trying to get Rorschach is working for Ozymandias because he's like hanging out in Night Owl's base.
OG Watchmen style.
Mm-hmm. And what's her name? The Marionette?
Yep, Marionette and the Mime. They're new characters.
Yeah. And he wants their help to bring the god back. I can only assume they're talking about Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, they bring up that God is Dr. Manhattan.
And so then we also flash over and we get to see Clark, you know, sleeping in bed with Lois, taking a nice little cat nap. And he has a dream, and it's a dream from when he was in high school, going to a dance, and his parents took him. And it's the night that they die by hitting a tree, and except he was there, and he could hear it, and he could feel it. He could hear the heartbeat. He could hear like everything. and it was very, very, very real with him. And that's actually kind of cool because unless there's something like extraordinary going on here, it's like, how would Superman dream? Like, like sometimes when you dream, it's almost too real. Like, it is pretty crazy that sometimes when I fall asleep, like into a nap type phase, like if I'm sitting in a chair or laying on a couch, I'll have this sudden sensation that I'm falling, and that'll wake me up.
Yeah, absolutely. Shakes you to your core.
But it just really kind of shakes you back awake. And so I wonder, since Superman can't really fall, it's like, like what are his dreams like? Like, can you imagine having a dream where you have such sensitive hearing that, like, your brain makes that up? Like, that's so weird.
It's bizarre because Clark, it's like you said, you can't really have the fear of falling if you can't fall. So what's the next greatest fear? And I think that's seeing the realest thing you've seen, the thing that shook you to your core. It's almost like the well for Bruce, or seeing his parents die. This is the exact same thing for Clark this time, because he is seeing his parents die, and it's he's feeling overwhelmed by it. And I just kind of want to take out and throw out a little guesstimation of what I think is coming. I think that this is a vision sent to him by Dr. Manhattan. I feel like they're going to have a psychic link first before they actually physically connect. The strongest mind contacting the strongest human. Well, not human, Kryptonian, but
that definitely could be. Well, so what do you think, Nate? I really enjoyed this first book. I thought it was fantastic.
Book 1 is a solid 4.5 book for me out of 5. Easy. It really did a great job of setting up the story. They have a lot of little working parts that are well done. It definitely reads exactly like a Watchmen. The art is phenomenal. I love that they are playing on legitimate repercussions from the actual incident that happens in the first book and the fallout from New York. They just, overall, like I said, they just did a really good job of playing it off. And check it out. Here we are, the first book of Doomsday Clock. No Dr. Manhattan. He's been featured a little bit here and there in other DC stuff leading into this. And here we are at the actual event, and right in the first issue, no Dr. Manhattan at all. Now, I don't know if you really paid attention to this, Brando, or not, and I want to know what you thought about the issue as far as a rating in a second here. But at the very end of this, they actually show you the covers for every issue moving forward. Did you look at them all?
I looked at what was in there, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like the first one is the Doomsday Clock with Dr. Manhattan behind Superman. The second one looks like it's, what's his face? Lex Luthor. The next one is Batman. And then the next one is Rorschach, and there's an explosion. And the next one's the Joker. So the Joker's going to have some role in this. That's crazy to think about. And that's the only ones they showed, right, so far. So they showed maybe the first 6 books covers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's the first 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the first 5 covers.
And this is a 12-issue arc.
Yeah. So this will be finishing up this time next year.
I can't wait, dude.
It's awesome. We will be definitely reviewing these once a month as they come out, folks. No worries there. We are Journey into Comics. We're trying to be better about covering comic book news, we promise. And it's cool because today, Brando, we actually got to read a book the day it came out. This is going to be coming out a couple days after that moment. But within a couple days, we've actually been able to review a brand new book that's a hot topic, and I feel really happy about that. What did you think? I want to know.
Oh, dude, I loved it. I thought it was really good. I probably rated a good 4.45, just like you. Boom, right out of there, right out of the gate. It reads like a Watchmen book with a good mix, because it isn't straight up Watchmen, because Watchmen is actually kind of a hard read as far as all of the dialogue and
heavy dialogue, heavy content.
Exactly. So this wasn't as heavy, but the Watchmen stuff that was there was definitely written like the Watchmen. It was done with love and care, to make it seem like they just weren't using the characters in the setting. Like no, this is all in. And of course, then the covers represent that by using the Watchmen type covers with the, with the yellow side, or with the stuff like the title on the side with the Doomsday Clock. Did you like the little Easter egg of the Doomsday Clock being mentioned in, well, just the words Doomsday Clock being mentioned in Justice League?
Yes, they briefly touched on that.
Ben Affleck says to Diana, or Bruce says to Diana, humans tend to think that the Doomsday Clock has a snooze button.
And I was just like, oh my gosh. That would be, honestly, that's redemption. If they can at some point do the Doomsday Clock storyline, we obviously don't know what it's like, but think about if they started that story at the button, did the button story, and then evolved it into the Doomsday Clock story, it could be incredible storytelling. It makes me really excited. I will say, Brando, if you're a comic book fan and you're a Watchmen fan, this is Nate giving you guys all a heads up. They've already called for a second pressing of this first book. This book is going to be one of those valuable collector items because it's a Watchmen book. The first Watchmen book, original pressings, you get the whole series for like $100, $150. But these, they're not going to be around forever. Once they make a second pressing, that means they'll probably make a third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, and then that just brings your value up. So while you can, folks, you're in your first week here, you should be able to go to a local comic shop or go on to line to one of the various things you can buy comics from and order that shit. It'll be something you'll be happy you have. I'm about to order mine or go pick one up at the shop here in the next couple days. Of course, when we were recording this, tomorrow is Thanksgiving. Right now we're celebrating Black Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, anyways, Brando, let's move on to some more comic book news, man. I had you look at them before we came on the air today. How you feel, how you want me to, how you feel about these covers on The Walking Dead. We got covers for 174, 175, and 176. Of course, we know 174 is a Negan-centric issue, so no surprise that he graces the cover.
I got the yawns, man.
Oh no, are we at Revenge of the Yawns already? Has it officially happened?
I don't think so.
Okay,
because
good.
we're starting to wrap it up and having, we gotta title the episode something about the Justice League. We gotta do something about that because to hide the big old Justice League talk in an episode that is about called something about yawns. That kind of tends to think that we actually didn't like it.
It's a landmine, yeah. People are going to be like, wait, what? Did they fall asleep in the theater? Should I just avoid this episode?
Right, yeah, no. Negan's cooking up some dinner. He's got an assault rifle with him because Lucille's no more. And, of course, in that Negan background story, we figure out that the dude can actually shoot a gun. He's learned how to do that. And then we go into the next issue where we get stormtroopers.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Essentially, we have officially big gunned, armored out motherfuckers, not getting bit by anybody.
Dope ass white armor with red stripage.
Yeah, and then the book after that, we see those same troopers again, but they're standing behind a certain female character, sitting at a desk with a little American flag.
Looks kind of presidential to me.
It does. And I don't know if it's a higher up official, what's going on here, but there seems to be some semblance of force. There's organization here. There's a militaristic thing, and as I've said, just when you think the story can't get any bigger, they kick down the door and make it bigger.
Absolutely. They just do such a good job of expanding. I remember when I'm reading through the books and you're at issue 94 and it's a larger world, and that's the preamble to what is about to happen with Negan. And then here we are. We've seen the expansion of Alexandria. The hilltop is being rebuilt. All these things seem to be going well. We've read what happened in 173. We've already covered that. We kind of know what can probably happen in 174. I feel like there's going to be a confrontation between Maggie and Negan. Set something up there, a little something. Who knows, though? 175, we're definitely going to come back to Yumiko, Eugene, Maggie, or not Maggie, Michonne, Magna, Siddiq, and Co., who are being held up by possibly Stephanie. This could be the President of the United States of America, as they know it. Who knows? And is Rick's group getting ready to be drug into something that's literally super militaristic? Who are we going to lose to this group by way of not necessarily death, but what if someone goes, this is a fucking better gig, I'm staying here. Look at this dope-ass armor they'll give me. Look like a fucking stormtrooper, bro.
They have a mini mall.
They have a mall. They're mass-producing action figures again here. What the fuck?
They have a Penn Station.
Ooh, Penn Station reference again.
Like, they have Penn Station. Guys.
You got to order their Philly cheesesteak with the mayo mustard pizza sauce combo. It's delicious.
And the white cheese.
With 4 slices. Or 2.
Yes.
I'm excited for The Walking Dead, bro. I really am. This book is great, and these covers are coming fast. Looks like we've got our December cover, and then the start of a 6-part story that will bring us to a brave new world order of Justice League. Wait, that's not right. Oops. Anyways, Brando, is there anything else we want to throw in here today before we rock out with our brains on?
You know, I think that about covers it for us here today. I really hope you guys had a really cool holiday, really safe holiday. Got some good deals on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, whatever you guys are doing. I hope you have a good one.
Today is Cyber Monday.
Yeah, it actually is. I hope you guys got some deals going on, man. Big shout out, too. I'm just going to do this because I'm super proud of the episode. Journey to Wrestling, a show that me and Nate also host here on the network. Number 1, we got an episode coming out this coming Wednesday, so we're gonna have to find time to record that, Nate. Just saying.
We'll make it happen.
Realize that. Just gotta realize that. I'm like,
Monday night might be free.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna get that recorded, but it's gonna come out, of course, on this Wednesday. But we also put up a brand new exclusive episode up on the Patreon, up just for Thanksgiving, where if you go and you drop down a few bones to us for the exclusive content, that is a $3 tier. We cover the lead up and the happenings and the what ifs of the Montreal screw job for pro wrestling, if you're into that. So that was the first exclusive for that show, and we're looking forward to coming back and maybe doing some more Comic Club for you here soon.
Yes, very soon. We'll maybe start on another comic series like Chew or something. Hey, give you guys something different. We love talking about The Walking Dead, but we want to keep mixing it up and do a couple different things here. There are a lot of different places we could go, Brando. A lot of different awesome graphic novels we could read and get into and bring a whole bunch of different things to the table. I think it would be really cool at some point for our Patreon to do a Kabuki exclusive, because you've never read Kabuki, and I think if we start you maybe second book. First book is good. It's just really a long read, and the Kabuki series is cool because the first book, Circle of Blood, is an all black and white story, and it's not David Mack really exploding in his full potential. After that first book, he really starts to be the artist he is now, that he's so well known for in his style of multiple mixed medias, whether he's actually cutting out pieces of paper to create borders for his different panels or whatever it is. So Kabuki reads so different than any other comic because part of the art is also part of the words and vice versa. So the story is laden inside of the art, and it makes it just a different, more organic experience that I think we would have a lot of fun talking about.
Cool. Yeah, but looking at doing some more exclusive content for you guys over there on Patreon. Please check us out. It'll help us out. It helps us keep the hosting bill, man. We got to pay those gimmicks that that come in the mail every month, called some bills. So we got to keep that going. And of course, check out all the great shows on the Journey into Comics network over at journeytocomics.com. We got a bunch of shows heading over there, and you can also check those out on your favorite podcast service, whether that be, hey, we're on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Podbean, Google Play Music, and all those little kind of side apps that search your RSS feeds and all that kind of stuff. You can find us there. Of course, the show also gets shared to YouTube automatically by Podbean, so if you're a YouTuber and you're hanging out over there on your PC, just look us up over there, Journey into Comics. We show up there. I probably should do some cleanup and add some playlists and try to make stuff a little bit easier for people to grasp over there, but, that day will come. But if you want to keep up with us up on social medias, we're on JIC Network on Twitter, Journey to Comics on Facebook, Journey to Comics on Instagram. We got any other social media that I'm not aware of?
I don't think so, bro. I don't think we have any other social medias that I can think of off the top of my head. I will say we are up to 10 shows on the network once the final one drops here soon. I'm hopeful that it will be this weekend, but we're nearing completion on what I think is wave 1 of the network.
Yeah, man, and pretty soon. I mean, everything grows, and everything grows at its own pace, and slowly but surely, we're all eventually going to be on our own RSS feeds. We're not going to be all, tangled up on one feed. Which is, it's cool to have a one-stop shop, but it's also cool to have a centralized feed for the show that you really want to listen to and dive into.
Whether it's Journey into Comics, or Game Addicts Podcast, or The Poor Rapport, or Butt Stuff, or The Voice of Survival, or Foodies Watching Movies, or Journey into Wrestling, or Podcastrophe, or Brews with Dudes, or Literature, whatever it is, you'll be able to get it on JourneyIntoComics.com. And we're thankful that you guys are joining us for this journey into comics. Brando, is there anything else we want to talk about today? I don't think so. I think we're going to wrap this one up. If that's going to do it for this week's episode of Journey into Comics, this has been episode 167, folks. Moving right along to 200. I can't wait. Mapped it out. I know when it's going to happen in my mind. I'm so excited. I mapped a lot of things out, Brando. I got a little excited with the calendars. But if that's going to do it for this week's episode of Journey into Comics, it's been a blast to talk to you folks. As always, I am your host, Nate.
And I'm Brando.
And we will see you guys next time. Keep filling your brains with shit.